Sharla here from One Woman. I'm here with the amazing giver of awesomeness, the queen herself of giver of awesomeness, Raushawna Price. How are you today, Raushawna?
I'm great, Sharla. So great. Glad to be here.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
we've known each other for a while now. Kicked off at, you spoke at the Dallas Fearless Summit. And
Yes.
let's talk a little bit kind of about your background to start with, because you have an impressive kind of background in terms of your educational background, what you've done, and kind of we'll go into like what led you into birthing the giver of awesomeness.
Yeah. So I have 2 degrees. Industrial and systems engineering is bachelor's and a master's. So I started off wanting to be an engineer, wanting to solve problems, help people. I love technology and challenges. And so in high school, when you take the little test here in the US, they have a test to like find out what your strengths are. The lady afterwards was like, "You'd be a great flight attendant." And I was like, "I want to be an engineer." So that's what I did. Even though that wasn't necessarily what my aptitude said, I was like, I'm going for it, and worked really hard, did well, and then decided I wanted to study and get a master's to learn about human factors and ergonomics. So how could I design equipment and machines and things that help people that interface with them? So that's my background. And then after 8 years of working for an amazing food manufacturing company, General Mills, I loved it, but I needed a change personally. So I made the change because I had children and they were young, and I was traveling as a packaging engineer. And when I missed 3 weeks at home with my children and my family, I said, I got to do something different. And so I ended up transitioning into public education. I was there 5 years, served teachers, 11,000 teachers, 19,000 employees in this big school district in the United States. And within about 3 months of getting a new leader and really feeling like my value wasn't there, like I wasn't being valued, and having what I call bullying experiences, I was sick. I was so sick that my blood pressure was about 158 over 80 or 90, high blood pressure. And so I ended up going out on medical leave. And I don't know about you, but when God speaks to you in these moments, when you're feeling low, when you're feeling down, but he says, I have something else for you, I took that leap of faith and resigned and started my business and have been doing it ever since.
Awesome. That's so awesome. And
Yeah.
no, I mean, that's the thing is lots of times where we wind up in life isn't because life is sunshine and roses. I say that so
Oh,
many
no.
times, I got started because of a really bad car accident on an entrepreneurship journey, so I think that's a lot of people's stories is just something that's happened in a workplace, something that's happened to you physically, or a situation of some sort where it's like, hey, something's got to change. And for you, it was very much your health and well-being, and also, bullying. And I think a lot of us think of bullying as kind of a childhood issue. Kids get bullied at school, but really a lot of us maybe don't label it that, but a lot of us have been bullied as an adult. I know I've went through that myself in the workplace as well, whether it's, abuse of authority or somebody who's always trying to minimize you and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I loved about your talk and also your workshop, which we're going to talk about that as well, but that you could identify those different bullying types, which was so amazing. So let's even go back to that first time in school where you want to be an engineer, but someone says like, well, you'd make a great flight attendant.
Yeah. I remember feeling like, what? And like they were trying to put this label on top of who I could be and put a limit to it. And I knew I wanted to be an engineer at that point because my parents had been talking to me about being an engineer. So by the time the test results came back, I was like, no, that's not at all what I want to be. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to pursue this. But the moment that those words came hurling towards me, just like many other bullying moments, I was like, oh, wait, no, that's not what I want to be. And that's the first sign that you're being bullied. And it's not always physical, and it's not always when we're young. It happens when we're older. I mean, I was 17 at the time. And then there were other encounters in school at that age when I got into a college, and I told one of my teachers that I was going to attend a historically Black college called North Carolina A&T. And they said, "You would go there? What is that?" Like, what does that mean? And that's what happens when we encounter bullies. We ask ourselves this question, like, what was that? And so everything that I've been doing in the last few years to talk about this concept is to just bring awareness and then have language to the behavior, because we don't talk about it as adults, and we walk around or swirl in our heads around, what was that? We replay the conversation, we try to figure out what it was, or we take it to people that don't have our best interest in mind. And so we end up in these conversations where we can villainize someone and then be a victim, and that doesn't help us move forward.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
also what it does to our self-esteem and self-worth. So would you basically define
absolutely.
bullying as anything that makes you not feel good about who you are anymore and makes you start doubting, your abilities, your, strengths, your shining your light.
Yeah, what I call awesomeness.
Awesomeness,
That
exactly.
your awesomeness, yes, your gifts and your talents and the things that are unique about you that people see and they come for. They see that you have a gift, an ability, something that you might not even recognize because it may come so easy to you. Like when you're putting on events and you have a team of people working with you and you have such big vision, that vision comes to you and it's effortless because it's your vision. And there are some people who all they want to do is attach themselves to you to ride your coattails in your vision. They don't actually want to do any work to help you move it along. Those are takers. And that's a type of bullying because they want what you have and they want to infringe on your moment of joy and make you feel bad about something that's good, that you're happy about. And so that is why when I call these bully characters awesomeness stealers, and I want people to recognize when it happens, because if not, we find, yeah, like, oh, maybe it's me. I'm going to question who I am. I'm going to question what I can do. And then we end up playing small in our lives or hiding behind, well, I don't want to make them upset, or I don't want to make them angry, or let me try to walk on eggshells and live my life on eggshells around other people. And that's not what living well is, and that's not what being awesome is.
Hmm. And like you said, it can turn into something so dangerous that when you can
Oh,
no
so
longer be
dangerous.
who you were created to be, you get sick.
Yes.
Things start showing up that shouldn't be showing up, like high blood pressure or, just the fear of even walking into a workplace. I remember being like that, where you just like dread going into work because you're always dealing with whether it's a certain individual or those kind of things where it's like you don't feel good about what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing anymore. You start questioning everything. You start feeling almost like you're
Everything.
crazy sometimes, or is this just me overreacting, or all those things, right?
Yeah,
And how
all those
those,
things.
yeah.
All those things. Yeah, like if you're replaying, you normally type an email, you proofread it and you send it, and then you like go over every word. Does this make sense? Am I saying it right? How are they going to interpret it? Or it's what I call the Sunday night lull. When Sunday night you sit on the couch, you've had a great weekend, you've decompressed, and then you start to feel that anxious, sick feeling of like, oh gosh, I have to go to work. What's going to happen to me when I get there? Oh my gosh, I have a meeting. Am I prepared? What if they say this? What if they say that? What if they come at me? That's not that is not professional. That is not healthy. And that is not what being successful looks like.
Absolutely. And what
Yeah.
I love is, like you said, it's putting a language to it to understand it, because sometimes you can feel like, how do I work with this?
Mm-hmm.
How do I play my part in this, and how do I address the situation, or all those kind of things. So I love how you created characters that really define it, because I think that was the aha moment, as I sat through your workshop, just kind of realizing like, yes, that person's a taker, or that person is a whatever, and really being able to say like, yeah, that is what's happening here. So how did you kind of come up with the whole concept and idea of that? Is just from your own experiences or listening to other people, or?
A combination of both. So what you have to know about me is I love superhero movies. Marvel in particular, but I do watch DC Comics, have for years, love Transformers. And there's always this moment of redemption. And so when I was thinking about all of the things that I've been through and really being broken and then rising from that, I thought, I have to figure out, how do I talk about this and how does it make sense? And so I've done a lot of work to teach conflict resolution. And so I went through and thought, well, if these different behaviors had characters, who would they be? And I remember laughing the last time I saw my minimizer bully boss, because I could see the joy that they were getting out of making me feel small. And so that's how that first character was born, because that's what minimizers do. They get joy out of making you feel small, and they do it more and more. It's like a drug, it's a high, and want it more and more. And so I took that one character and then went through, oh my gosh, so many stories, things that I hadn't thought about in years, but I was like, if I'm gonna do this, then I want to do it in a way that really makes sense and is good for people to go through, because I just didn't want people to feel like, well, I've been a victim, because that's not the truth. The truth is that some of these characters come because they see the awesomeness and they want it. So use the awesomeness. And so that's how all the characters were born. And I had sticky notes on my desk. Like, it was a crazy thing where I was trying to match behaviors with names so that there could be language to it. And so for me, it was like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, which is what I love to do. And this was a jigsaw puzzle of conflict, of what do these characters look like? How could I name them so that they could actually be identified as adversity?
Absolutely. And so now
Yeah.
your passion is teaching this to everyone so that they can have the tools to be successful and be awesome in their own life, and know that they can't be minimized, that no one can dim your life, and how to deal with these situations and all that kind of stuff for all ages. So tell me a little bit about kind of what that's turned into, with finding this passion, taking, what was, like dark moments in your life and turning it into something so amazing.
Ooh, I mean, it's turned into and continues to evolve. So it is a workshop with one woman. It is a book that is out there for all. It is an opt-in for people that want to have a personal experience with me walking through the book. It's individual coaching, it's group coaching, it's speaking, it's lots of ways that people can engage in this conversation, both one-on-one and in large groups. Because the truth is that every person, if they really think about it and are honest, has either been an awesomeness stealer and a bully, or is experiencing it, or will. Right. It's not a matter of if, it's will. And that's how it kind of came to me, kind of like in the Bible where it says, the poor you will have with you always. It's this understanding that evil is amongst us, that negative things happen. They've had since the beginning of time, the Garden of Eden. So in that, it's not about how do we prevent it and stop it. We do want to minimize it, but we also want to arm ourselves, guard ourselves, know why they're coming, and be able to fight and to be able to use the gifts that are inside of us that we've been given and give them to the world around us so that we can combat the negativity that comes.
Right. And I think that's important when you said that, in terms of, there's a lot of us that maybe you've been bullied by one of these characters, but maybe we've been one of these characters at some point in our life. I think each of us have that light and darkness within us. And it's sometimes dependent on our circumstance, on what's going on, that can kind of turn us into not our best versions of ourselves. And making light of that, in terms of, like, when you have those moments or weaknesses or things that that, hey, why am I doing this? As to what you need to work on in yourself to make you not hurt other people by doing those things. I always say that there's a lack of love in someone in some area where that would drive somebody, and so and that's what I love about when you say you do talks. I think that those are really great, whether it's in a workplace or whether it's in a school. That you're addressing everyone, the bullies and the people who are being bullied, correct?
Being bullied, right? It's about bringing the awareness so that people can have a chance in a safe place, either in a large arena or small, to have a moment to think about, oh my gosh, I did that to someone, or someone did that to me. And now that I have language to it, they make a choice. Make a choice to either be different. What I love about the workshop and all the things that we did when we were together doing that was walking through a process to actually think about what happened, what they did to you, what they said to you. Because so often when bullying happens, we try to like stuff it down, like, just let me just avoid that. I don't want to talk about it. Let me move to the next thing. We get really busy in our lives and we just tuck it back there. But it's swirling subconsciously. And then the next time we're triggered or someone says something, we like lash out. And then we wonder, how did that happen? Or for me, my body was taking in everything negative that I was experiencing. And I didn't even know it. The blood pressure, the high blood pressure was the outward indicator that I recognized, but I didn't know when I went to the doctor and the doctor asked me, are you having stomach aches? I was like, yeah. Are you having headaches? I was like, yeah. Are your teeth hurting? I was like, yeah. I thought I needed to go to the dentist. No, I was clenching my jaw at night when I was sleeping, stressed, trying to figure out what the next day would be like. I would have nightmares, or I would lay awake at night trying to figure out what the day was going to be. And the one thing that I didn't think was I would have small little bladder leaks. And we're talking to women, so we might as well just put it out there. And there was hair loss. Those are things that don't necessarily happen because you're getting older. They could be happening because you're super stressed and you're anxious. And it could be because of the adversity you're facing that is directly related to someone in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we talked about workplaces, and we talked about in schools, which I think people think about, but it can also happen in your family.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And it's October, so we're getting ready for the big holiday seasons. And there's a lot of stress and anxiety when people get around the dinner table, or what is someone going to ask me? And it could be even little things like, well, what are you up to now? Depending on that relationship that you have with someone, that question could be loaded. It could be loaded. Mm-hmm. And so that's a part of teaching people, like, what are their intentions, and what are your intentions of why you're asking that? And what are you really looking to? How are you connecting with people? What are you looking to accomplish?
Right. So let's talk about some of the tools, because you just came out recently with your amazing brand new book, Giver of Awesomeness, Be a Giver of Awesomeness. So let's talk about the book a little bit, and kind of what are the things that's in there. I know it identifies the characters, but does it also have maybe some tools and things that people can arm themselves with?
Yeah, so this is the book, Be a Giver of Awesomeness, and it's a short read. That's the feedback I've gotten from everyone who's read it so far, is I loved it because I could take it in. You didn't go around the block and around the corner to tell me, you just got to it. You told the stories, you told me what I could do with it, and there are questions in it. Those are the tools. So often when I was reading books, trying to figure out where I was in my life, I wanted a little bit more, and I needed to take notes and write in it. So when I was writing this book, I was really thinking about the woman that might be like me, who's getting this book and maybe is crying in their bathroom because they're not sure what they're going to do next. And my prayer was that this book would be something that could be with them, where they could say, this is what I can do next. This is how I can identify what I'm dealing with now, and then I can choose what I want to do next. So the book is broken into 3 parts. The first part is to discover your awesomeness, to really start to be aware of what's happening and why it's happening, to be able to say, yes, this is my awesomeness. These are the gifts, the talents, the things I do easily, the signs and wonders from the life I'm living that's telling me I should think bigger, I should dream bigger. And that's a part of what the first part is. And then the second part is all of the bully characters, all of the awesomeness stealers. And I talk about this concept called the tarnish effect. Think about sterling silver. You have sterling silver? So the tarnish effect is when we're in environments where we start to tarnish, where we see ourselves shifting into something that we're not. And then the last part is giving. What good is a gift that you don't give? And I talk about that. How do you give your awesomeness to great ideas, places, people, and to not play small? And it's actually a choice. And the other thing I talk about in the last part of giving is sometimes we have to make a choice to not be awesome, because the environment we're in will tarnish us if we are. And so being consciously aware of, oh, this isn't a safe environment, let me hold back, is actually a good survival skill to have. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's the book in a nutshell.
Love it. And I love that it has the questions that really make you think about your own life, how to apply it to your own life, and then how to
Yes.
reflect on all of that. Because lots of times
Yes.
it's easy to read a book that it's like, oh, that's fine for that person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you can draw it into your own life and how it applies, I think it's that much more powerful. So that's brilliant. Then we
Yes.
did the workshop, which we did
Yes.
together, which was absolutely amazing. And let's talk about that, because it kind of takes things kind of one step further in terms of really applying it to your life, having, you know, kind of those conversations about those bully types, how it applies to different scenarios, your own gifts, all that kind of stuff. So how to identify your gifts and talents in the face of adversity.
Yes. So the workshop was specifically designed and even named to bring a face to the adversity that every participant faces. It's literally saying, who are these people? And then what are they doing to you? What are they saying to you? And we walk through the process of owning it, not deflecting it, owning it. What did they say specifically? What were the words they used? What are the words that swirl in your head around that encounter that you had with them? Because there's actually gifts in what they said. So I use an example that I talk about quite often with my minimizer bully boss that said to me, "Oh, you think you're so good, don't you?" And at first I was like, what kind of snarky comment is that? Feeling bad, like, well, should I not think I'm good? Like maybe I overstepped my boundaries. Maybe I'm outside of my lane, right? Because they talk about staying in your lane. And then I thought, okay, but what if I am getting ahead of myself? And what if I do think I'm so good? What if that's my superpower and my awesomeness? If I can use that to be a creator, to be a starter, to think that I'm good. And if I think that I'm good and I believe that I'm good, then I can do good somewhere, maybe just not here, but somewhere. And that's what I teach people is how do you shift your thinking and then unpack the awesomeness? Because if your awesomeness is thinking that you're really good and then you can create something and give that something to the world around you, then go and do that. And here's how you do it. And also the last part of the workshop is all about the accountability, because it's good to learn things and it's good to know who you are. It's a total game changer when you're able to then take what you know and believe about yourself and then go and help and inspire other people to do the same and to do it with other people. I call them your fans. We all have fans, people that are cheering us on, that want us to do great things. And how do you take them along the ride with you? How do you say, come along, I'm doing this and I want you to be a part of it? And that's sometimes what we miss on our road to what we think is success, is saying to people like, join me, be a part of this. So that's how the workshop kind of unfolds, and it's very specific, and the workbook is a part of that too.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I like. It's got the tools to really go through your own life and scenarios and things that are, you know, causing you grief. And I think that it was important how you had mentioned about, you know, taking those things that are attacking you and turning them into such, where your awesomeness lies, and how to discover that. Because I think a lot of us take that in and we become smaller and smaller and smaller. You become somebody you don't even recognize anymore. And I think that's happened to a lot of people, you know, in different scenarios, whether it's family relationships or dynamics, whether it's workplace scenarios, whether it's at school, that all of a sudden a child becomes totally different than what that child was. That employee becomes a totally different employee because of that situation or scenario, you know, your health, well-being, but also your mannerisms, your behaviors, all that kind of stuff. And so how to reverse that in terms of like, what has happened? What are those things that have happened to me? Really think those through and say like, what are those gifts that I have? And where are those amazing parts that are my light in this world to shine?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I love that. You do it so well. You do it.
Yes. The question is what if they're right? What if they're right? What if we're getting ready for the holidays, a family member says to you, "Oh, so you think you're too big for us? You've gotten so big, you've gotten too big for us." What if I have? What if I've outgrown, I love you all. What if I've outgrown the hometown feel? What if I have? And that's okay. That doesn't mean that there's a love loss. That just means that I'm in a place now where I'm going to another level, and I want you to come with me if you feel like you can. But if you can't, that's okay. I'll still love you where you are, but that doesn't make me bad for thinking I've outgrown something, because maybe I have. And that's my superpower.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Brilliant. So we
Yes,
talked about,
yes,
you
yes.
do all kinds of speaking engagements. We talked about the amazing book. We
Yes.
talked about the spectacular workshop that you do. People can also work one-on-one with you, correct, Raushawna? That if they're going through, they're just feeling really stuck in where they are, or they've read the book, they need some help kind of applying it to their own life, or whether they're doing the workshop, need a little extra help with it. Do you do that? Is work with women or men one-on-one, helping people?
I do. That is really where you get the one-on-one attention to go further faster, where you can say, I'm dealing with this right now and I need help. I need a plan. I need to be able to navigate the situation I'm in, the relationship I'm in. And there are a lot of people who want to stay in relationship with the people that they're with. And that's a part of it. It's let's work through the coaching to help you be able to make the mental shifts, but also to set up boundaries around relationships. Sometimes all a relationship needs is boundaries, to say, this is what it is and this is what it's not.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how people can get involved with, the Giver of Awesomeness, and how to be part of this amazing group that you created, because I think there's a lot of people out there that's looking for more people who will support, the awesomeness they want to give in this world. So let's talk about how people can find everything, your website. I think your book is on Amazon, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about those details.
Absolutely, yes. So the first place that I want people to engage with me, and that's where you're getting a lot from me, is on Facebook. You can go to type in Giver of Awesomeness. You'll find my page there. You want to like the page so that it comes to the top of your feed. That's the way that I'm talking to lots of people. Every Tuesday afternoon, I'm on live. And the other thing is that there's a place where you can opt in for emails, because I want to get you the awesomeness sparks that come out once a month. And then I have open enrollment periods where people can come and join my coaching circles, or if they want individual coaching, and that's a part of it too. And you can always email me at contact@raushawnaprice.com. Again, that's contact@raushawnaprice.com. And you can find the book on Amazon, and it's also featured locally I'm in Charlotte, and so the bookstore is called Park Road Books. And so that's a great place. You can go online and get the book. They'll ship it to you. Some people like to shop local and small and don't want to go to Amazon. So that's another place you can get the book.
Awesome. And then to book speaking engagements and all that kind of stuff, right to your website, you can contact
right to my website,
whether it's at your school, whether it's a workplace talk, any of that kind of stuff. You do it all.
Yes, that's correct. So you can find me at raushawnaprice.com for all of the other booking needs. If you're looking for a speaker, you want a workshop, you have a group that is saying, oh my gosh, we've been talking about bullying. We need language. We need you, Raushawna. Contact me at raushawnaprice.com.
Awesome. And for the amazing workshop, how to identify your gifts and talents in the face of adversity, you can go to onewoman.ca, click on the One Woman Empowerment Academy. You'll see Raushawna's beautiful face and her amazing workshop there that you can literally watch at your leisure. They're pre-recorded, and they were pre-recorded in studio with people who actually took the workshop, so you can follow along and then connect with her whole tribe of people being awesome and shining their
Absolutely.
awesomeness, to be able to support each other and to be able to have real conversations about what you're going through, how you're combating everything, and how you're succeeding in just being awesome and shining your light. I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much.
no problem. So anything that we didn't talk about today or cover that you want to chat about, or that you want to leave people with?
What I want to leave people with is two things. And I think the first thing that I want to leave people with is this understanding that if you're in a place of being bullied, it could be your greatest gift. But it does take the work to actually get to the heart of what's happening. And so I don't want you to suffer in silence. So remember that you don't have to suffer in silence. The second thing is that maybe you've been through a bullying experience and you're ready to write your own story. I want you to be brave enough to write your book, your blog, whatever it is, because you don't know who your story can help. I tell people all the time now, write your book and let God do the rest, because he will make a way or get your story to where it needs. And if you need help with that, reach out to me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I'm there every now and again as Giver of Awesomeness, or on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you,
Yes.
Shauna, for sharing with us today, all the awesomeness that you give to this world, and for shining your light and sharing your gifts with others. You make a massive difference. And I'm so honored and thankful to have been able to work with you so much, and
Yes.
to be able to share what you're doing with so many amazing women across the globe. So
Thank you.
yeah, so everyone have a fabulous day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.